Well, because I think the economy is going to fall into a severe recession.
What makes you say that?
Well, we're overdue, right? I mean, you don't normally have an expansion that lasts as long as this one. I think we're the second longest in history, and if we go for another year, it'll be the longest expansion in history.
2008 is when it started to turn around. Or
2009.
2009.
Kind of the end of 2009.
So we're 9 years in now.
Yeah, exactly.
And what is a usual expansion and compression?
I don't know, 5-6 years.
So
this one is long, but also this one required more government stimulus than any other, recovery. And I don't think we actually recovered. I think the government simply, injected a bunch of cheap money into the economy and exacerbated the real problems, but, reflated the bubbles in the stock market and the housing market. But, everybody talks about how the economy is doing so great, but it's really not much better than it was under Obama, if it's any better at all. GDP growth for Trump's first year in office last year was 2.3%. I mean, nothing great. First quarter was 2%. This quarter might be better than 3%, maybe not. But, I think it's going to be – the second quarter will probably be the best quarter of the year. Maybe we're probably going to go downhill. But, last year was, I think, the weakest year of job growth since 2011. So people want to talk about how great everything is, but it's more a function of people – are hoping things are going to turn around. There's a lot of optimism now that things are going to get better. But I think that the people who are so optimistic, a lot of them are going to be disappointed because we're going to end up with is a weaker economy. The only thing that's really strengthening is inflation. Inflation is going to pick up, so the cost of living is really going to be rising as the economy is falling into recession. So we get stagflation, which is probably the worst possible economic scenario. And, I think that the left and even the Fed is going to be able to blame it on Trump because Trump has come in and, claimed credit for this great economy that he believes we have, and he's claimed credit for the record in the stock market. But he's basically put his name on a bubble, and when it pops, it's going to be hard for him to try to blame the next recession on Obama when he's already said, hey, this is my economy, I created it. And so people are going to be disappointed, and they're going to vote, I think, for another person whose promises change. And unfortunately, that's going to come from the left.
So you think this is going to happen within the next 3 years?
Well, yeah. I mean,
what is the bubble? Like, what do you think is going to cause it to crash? Commercial real estate? Is it credit? What is it?
Well, I mean, commercial real estate is expensive. I mean, it's in the bubble, but that's not going to cause it. I mean, air is going to come out of the bubble. I think we would already be in a pretty severe recession now had it not been for Trump winning. Had Hillary won, I think we would already be there. But I think
what makes you say that?
Well, we got a lot of false optimism as a result of Trump, and we did get the tax cuts. And the tax cuts, just like, any kind of artificial drug, you can inject yourself and get a little bit of a phony high. Because remember, the tax cuts were paid for with debt. We didn't shrink government, right? If you make government smaller, that's great. Then you can cut taxes because now government doesn't need as much money, and you can relieve the taxpayer of the burden of paying for it, and that's great. But if you just cut taxes, but you don't cut government spending, and of course what the Trump administration did was even worse. They increased government spending. We increased welfare spending. We increased warfare spending, and so spending is more. But they reduced their tax revenue. So the deficits are just exploding out of control. And those deficits are going to do more damage to the economy than the tax cuts were a benefit, except you get the benefit first, maybe for the first year, and then you start to deal with the pain after that. And so I think that's going to set in, long before the end of Trump's term.
So you think that this is what is causing the economy to be in a really, at least to look like it's in a really healthy state right now?
Well, some of the numbers, right? Some of the numbers look better, but beneath the surface, again, it's not improving. Just like it wasn't improving under Obama. That's what laid the foundation for Trump's victory, was because Obama and everybody kept talking about how great the recovery was. But the average voter knew that was all a bunch of nonsense because he wasn't living in that